You know, I was just sitting here thinking, a lot of people ask when you tell them you make videos for YouTube is, do you make money on it? Yeah, there are many reasons why people do YouTube. You know, for 9 years, I just had a channel that I watched videos on, you know, something to have fun, watch, you know, say, hey, have you seen this on YouTube? And I'd go watch it. 9 years. But last Thanksgiving, I was down in Florida visiting with family and friends and went to a wedding. And my brother-in-law, who has a channel called Sheely's Organic Farm, asked me, why don't I record what I do here at home and post them on YouTube? And I'm like, who's gonna watch me melting cans and stuff like that? And he goes, well, don't you watch people melting cans and other things? And I said, yeah, I like Big Stacked, I like Scrap It All. I mean, there's lots of places that I've been watching YouTube videos, like I said, for a long time. And probably the last 4, 5, 6 years, I've been watching videos on melting items, recyclable stuff, and melting cans, aluminum, copper. So I sat on it for about 2 months, and I said, you know what? I'm having fun. Why not make a couple videos? And I said, okay. So for a couple months, I sat on it and I said, you know, I'm going to do it. Not necessarily because I want to make money, it's because this is what I do when I was working. This is what I did when I got home to relax. And I was already scrapping things. So that's why I watch Scrap It All on YouTube, because he shows you how to tear stuff apart and everything. And I said, all right, so this is what I do when I was at home. So that's why it's called Gil's Time Off, because at the time I was working, and this is what I did on my time off. I got 2 days off a week like most people. And when I wasn't running around going to doctors, I have a lot of health issues, so I'm usually at the doctor's most of the time. So this is what I normally did. But I know a lot of people make videos, you know, but a lot of us just watched them. So I said, well, I don't know if I'll make any money at this, because, and like my brother-in-law was saying, you can. And I said, well, how about if I just make videos? Maybe someone might like them, I don't know. And if they do, maybe they'll subscribe and like my videos. And maybe later, maybe. But my main concern is just, I'm doing my hobby of making aluminum bars and stripping out copper stuff. And so I said, well, all right. So in January this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. What could it hurt? If nothing else, I'll still be having fun. I'll still be melting cans or copper or aluminum and stuff. And maybe someone will have fun watching. Maybe someone will learn how to do it themselves. I've been doing it for 3, 4, 5 years now. So I'm not saying I'm good at it, but hey, so yeah, there's a lot of reason people watch YouTube. And just think about it. There's a lot of times people go, I don't know how to do this, but I know someone's made a YouTube video of it. And that's how, you know, a lot of us learn that way. So I don't know if anyone will say, hey, let's go watch Gil's Time Off and melt some cans, but I hope they do. Or maybe Little Stompers trucking videos, you know, I did drive for 33 years, and who knows? Maybe you've been there. Maybe you like the music. Maybe you are doing them yourself. So as I learn how to do this, I'm hoping that, some people will enjoy doing what I'm doing. And no, I don't scrap this stuff to sell because it's more fun to melt it. So anyway, things like these Christmas lights, I got a shed full of stuff that I've been stacking up. I've had copper tubing for 25 years. Just because I find a piece here, I find a piece there. And you know what? When I'm out and about, I don't like litter. And if I see something, I usually pick it up. You might see me picking up cans that have been in the parking lot for weeks at a time, I know I stopped at one store one week, and when we parked, there just happened to be a can squished out in the parking lot. I went back the next week, and it was still there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to pick that thing up. And even my wife's getting into it a little bit. She'll point it out. She won't pick it up, but she'll point it out and says, hey, look, there's a can. You want to get it? I get it. I've got friends of mine, neighbors and stuff. They all give me a few things here and there. Some of the stuff you see melted come from my neighbors because, I told them, I said, look, if you got anything that you want to get rid of, and instead of throwing it in a landfill, how about making something out of it? So as I get better at this, I'll start casting and I'll try to make some neat items out of it. So stay tuned. I don't know where this will all go, but as long as I'm having fun, I hope you like watching, and who knows, we'll just make a couple videos and see what happens. As always, enjoy. And like I've been trying to say, it'll all be to be continued. Thank you.